best metal and hard rock videos from the past 10 years. Plus, coming in here, we'll have Tommy Lee and Vince Neil of Motley Crue. They're going to be my co-hosts of the night. And speaking of Motley Crue, right now we're going to start a rockumentary with Motley Crue.
If it first comes on, you know it's Motley because it's on the brink of distortion.
Our songs are heavy, but they have always have a real good groove in it, you know. And I think that's the Motley sound is heavy groove.
It sounds massive, and that's the way we like it.
Motley Crue came together in 1981 in the small clubs and bars of Hollywood on a scene that was slowly turning away from skinny tie new wave groups towards something, well, harder and more provocative.
At the time we were coming out was like the big heyday of like new wave, like the Knack and those kind of bands, and which is cool, but it was time for change.
I had seen Tommy at the Starwood Club, and he knew Vince.
They found Mick, you know, in a newspaper called The Recycler.
He was loud with an aggressive guitar player, and my name and a phone number, and I got a call from Nikki.
He shows up, he looks like something out of the Addams Family. He's standing at the front door. We're going, wow, this is wild, man. Let's listen to this guy play. He played unbelievable. He brought his Marshall stacks inside Nikki's little house that he lived in, and he was just cranking. That was cool, and then we were looking for a singer. Motley Crue did have another singer. We had this guy that lasted about 2 days, who was real strange, and so Nikki goes, Tommy, you know, don't you know any other guys? So I go, yeah, I went to school with this guy. He's my bud, you know, but he's in another band. He goes, well, it doesn't matter. Let's just, you know, we'll go steal him out of that band.
I was playing at the Starwood one night, and the three of them came down.
He blew out the first audition. We called him. We're all waiting for him. We're waiting. And they're all looking at me. Tommy, where's your bud? I go, he said he was coming, man. I don't know.
And I never showed up.
So I drove by his house and said, man, what's up, dude? Why didn't you come by? And he said, well, I don't know if I want to play with you guys, you know. And it was just real weird. And then finally, I guess some weird happened in his band, and he did come the next day, and he auditioned, and that was it.
The fledgling Crue built up a following through the time-honored method of playing non-stop local gigs, but they went on to chart a do-it-yourself course that many succeeding LA metal bands have followed.
We pooled our money together, and we got enough money to record 2 songs and make a 45.
We recorded those to get people to come up to the front, you know, to stand near us. So we'd go, come here, here's a record, come on, stay there.
We'd be playing, Vince would be going, we'd just be flinging them out, and pretty soon it was like, it took off like a weed, just word of mouth.
Motley Crue followed up their 1981 demo single with an independently produced album called Too Fast for Love. Meanwhile, on stage, in the tradition of such acts as Alice Cooper and Kiss, they began designing their own stage spectacles, complete with glam-bam wardrobe, lots of props, and home-brewed pyrotechnic effects.
We used to experiment in our apartment, and, you know, we'd blow stuff up all the time. That's where we learned how to light Nikki on fire.
I think I was usually the one that came up with the idea, and then they were usually the ones that nodded their heads, and so it always ended up being me that, you know, got torched.
One day he goes, hey, T-Bone, you know, we got any rubbing alcohol around? I go, yeah, I think there's some in the, you know, in the bathroom. We all lived in this one apartment together, and I go grab the rubbing alcohol, and Vince and I were dousing Nikki with, and we'd put it on. He was wearing leather pants so he wouldn't get burned, right? I mean, we were trying to be safe about this. And we just put it on his, like from his knees down to his shoes, and then we just light him on fire, and you stand there burning. Then we took that to the stage.
Even if it was a little hokey at times, you know, it worked.
In 1982, Motley Crue got signed by a major label, Elektra Records, which re-released the group's Too Fast for Love LP. In 1983 came the band's Shout at the Devil album and the first of many major image shifts. Theater of Pain yielded the crew's first top 40 single, which turned out to be a cover of a 1973 Brownsville station hit, Smokin' in the Boys' Room. By 1987, the band had discarded most of its makeup and stripped its sound back down to basics. The title track of their new album, Girls, 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 turned into another hit single, and the LP itself stormed up the charts. In fact, it seemed poised to go all the way to the top, but then suddenly it stopped at number 2.
When the Girls, Girls, Girls album went to number 2, and we knew what the sales were that week, and we all of a sudden, it's like, you know, when you're about to go number 1, you find out a lot of stuff. You get very interested. And that week, Whitney Houston debuted at number 1, but we sold the most records in the nation. And that really pissed us off. And all of a sudden, it was a goal.
That goal was finally realized with Motley Crue's next album, Dr. Feelgood, which went to number 1 in October 1989. Validation at last for a band that had helped launch the now booming LA metal explosion years before.
No respect.
We are the Rodney Dangerfields of rock.
No matter how much a band says, oh, we don't care, we don't read our reviews, you know, that's true to a point, but to be accepted is a real good feeling, too.
We weren't taken seriously for the whole first part of our career, you know? I mean, most people didn't think we were going to last.
One major reason for Motley Crue's unusual staying power has been the group's videos, which in traditionally rude rock fashion have mixed together everything from dopey occult trappings to bikes and babes and on-the-road imagery. Nothing really new, but in their own musical sphere, these clips have had a certain influence.
In this day and age, you know, video is a big thing, and you know, you expect to see a video from a song, and if you don't, you know, it's like there's something missing now.
All I wanted to do was play drums, but my parents thought that, you know, maybe a good thing for me to do is learn accordion. And then I got an amp. This is the coolest. I got this, like, guitar amp, because my accordion, you could plug it in, and then I just cranked this thing on 10 for distortion, turn the speakers around, open my bedroom window, and crank Smoke on the Water. I was getting all heavy, you know. I wanted everybody to hear it. I tried to make it sound like a guitar, you know. Friends would ask me, hey, man, was that you playing the accordion? No, man, I got a guitar, man. Got a guitar. 10 years that killed your...
If you...
One guaranteed way to get attention in the Reagan 80s was to drag out some Satanist imagery, mainly pentagrams and ominous-sounding anagrams, and garnish it with some time-honored S&M trappings, a mock evil brew that, as planned, quickly drew fire from conservative political and religious groups.
Anything that you don't understand is immediately categorized as evil.
If somebody sees a spider climbing up the wall, the first thing they do is kill it. That's the first reaction people have. And anything that is intimidating, the first thing they want to do is stomp on it, or kill it, or ban it.
Somebody was telling me that they wanted to come see our concert once, and their parents wouldn't let them because they said we kill chickens on stage. It's like, what? Chickens? I mean, where do you get this stuff from?
Rock and roll music has always been like the greatest misunderstood thing on the planet.
Every metal band in the world, of course, claims to be composed of really bad dudes, and Motley Crue was no exception. From groupie-packed parties to fast cars and hard drugs and oceans of alcohol, these guys did, in fact, for what it may be worth, do it all. But as many a band before them had discovered, life in this particular fast lane takes a heavy toll. In 1983, Nikki Sixx wrapped his Porsche around a telephone pole, injuring his shoulder. The following year, Tommy Lee flipped his 280Z 4 times on an LA freeway, but walked away unharmed. Then in December 1984, Vince Neil, drunk, drove his Ford Pantera into an oncoming car. 2 passengers in the other vehicle were seriously injured, and Neil's passenger, the drummer Razzle of Hanoi Rocks, was killed. After serving 30 days in jail for drunken driving and vehicular manslaughter, Neil rejoined the group to record Theater of Pain. The album was dedicated to the late Razzle, and it also carried a warning to fans about the dangers of drinking and driving. In reality, though, Motley Crue was still drinking and drugging it up as much as ever.
We'd been in a haze for 9 years, a serious haze. It wasn't a, hey, let's party, dude. It wasn't a few beers. I mean, it was hard drug use.
It just really blows my mind how we didn't get it together. Nothing stopped us.
The Girls, Girls, Girls tour, we were a mess. I mean, each one of us was just like totally out of control. We were doing drugs and drinking.